Well, hello, my friends. Oh my gosh, it's like 100 degrees outside today. That's not counting humidity. Yeah, it's so hot. I'm not even, if an ice cream truck pulled out front and said, I'm giving you free ice cream, all you have to do is walk out and get it, I'd pass. It's that hot. So I thought, well, what a more perfect day than to stop and tell you guys. I told you before I was going to do a video on my favorite books. Well, I have found that that is a little more complicated than I thought, because as a book hoarder and someone who loves books and have them hidden all over, as a matter of fact, as I was thinking about this, I thought, I need to do a video on just where all my books are hidden. Literally, they're everywhere. But I thought, I may have to categorize this into books I love, books that are fun. I don't know how I'm going to break it up. But today, I thought I'm going to talk about books that have changed my life. Simple enough, right? No, I got a big pile, and there's two that I need to talk about that I haven't even gotten, because if I have a book that changes my life, do you know what I do? Pass it around, then I order another one. Then I pass it around. Then I order another. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to probably go through these really quickly because there are a lot, but they're really important. Okay, let's start with this one. Charles Capps, The Tongue, A Creative Force. Okay, Charles Capps is or was I think he was an evangelist, really popular through the 80s and 90s. I really do believe he's since went to the great beyond. Okay, he started talking about the tongue and what we confess and what we speak long before a lot of these other books that became popular in the 90s. And this one is biblically based. He talks about you have to be careful because the tongue can create worlds. And if you're constantly speaking negative of you're too broke or, your health, I'm getting so old, you're creating a future. You need to watch your tongue. This book changed my life because I didn't realize how negative I was until I read this. And now I'm very careful. You can ask my family. They'll say something about, oh my gosh, tomorrow it's going to be so hot. Probably somebody's going to drop over dead of a heat stroke. And I'll go, don't speak that. Don't confess negative. Yeah. And so this is a good book, and it's a constant reminder. Be careful what you say. I encourage you guys to do that because I love you guys and I don't want bad things to happen to you. So say good things about yourself. Speak positive over your situation. That's what he tells us to do. And it's biblical. There's a power there. Next, Life is Short, Wear Your Party Pants by the famous Loretta LaRue. Let me read it on the back. She is an internationally known stress management consultant who advocates humor as a coping mechanism. She's been on PBS, she's done conventions and speaking engagements and all kinds of stuff. This one I ran across by accident. And I didn't realize I needed it until I read it. I read it in probably early 90s, and I've never been without a copy because I share, like I said, a lot of my books with others. She says, when she was little, her neighbor had really fancy underwear. And Loretta's family didn't have a lot of money. And she went to her mom and said, could I have fancy underwear? And her mom bought her 3 pair. And she said, now, Loretta, these are your party pants. These aren't everyday underwear. These are special. You only wear these on special events. Well, Loretta understood these are really special. So she would keep them in her drawer. And she said she would take them out and think, is this event special enough? Probably not. And she'd put them back in the drawer. And then the next event, I better save them for something more special. And she said what ended up happening was she outgrew them and never got to wear them. She said, your life is full of gifts and beauty that we have hidden because we always think, I'll save it for something else. She said, china that's in the cabinet, you think, well, I'll use it maybe next time. She goes, then a lifetime has passed, and what was created to bring beauty to the world is never exposed because we have it hidden. And she talks about our gifts and how we need to bring them forth. This book took me from being a stay-at-home mom who just, maybe later we'll do something, to get out there, get after it, wear your party pants. Life is short, and you need to make sure when the end of it, you've used it all up, not saved it for later. Yeah. This one I read just a couple years ago. I had went through a very challenging time where the wheels fell off of several of my relationships. Now, I'm a girl, and I believed that if you're kind and nice, then good comes back to you. I never experienced such a disastrous time in my life where my relationships all just went catastrophe, and I thought, oh my gosh, it threw me into a midlife crisis, and I wasn't even midlife yet. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awful. What's a girl to do? I have to reinvent myself. Oh, again, I don't know what to do. I Googled, what do you do? I need to be liked. Yeah, the need to be liked. Well, that book seemed like something I want, by Dr. Roger Coven. Look at this. It's tiny, power-packed, explosive. Changed my life because when I was going through that difficult time, and I'm thinking, why is no one liking me? What I realized was I was focused on the few that I was struggling with and not the many that I have. He said, 7 out of 10 people will like you, 3 won't. That's what the averages show. That's what the odds are. He said, and if you're constantly trying to make those 3 like you, you're going to lose the 7. And he said, these 3 may be wanting something from you that you weren't meant to give or not supposed to give or you're not gifted to give, but you're trying to make them love you. And in doing so, you've had to change for these 7. So now you've lost 3 or 4 over here while you're focused on trying to make these people like you that really don't and probably never will. He said, you need to find your 7 and just be you and let them love you and you love them and you guys just share your gifts together. Seriously. That right there is worth the price of a book. Changed my life. If you are like me and you needed to be liked, I focus on my 7. Sometimes daily I run into those 3. That's okay. You know what? I don't have to not like them because they don't like me. Is that the most profound? Let me say that again. If someone doesn't like me, I don't have to not like them back. I can still walk in love and kindness and goodness and joy and peace and go about living my life, and it's okay. I don't like pistachio ice cream. Well, I kind of do. I don't like lime sherbet. I don't like lime sherbet. But that doesn't mean lime sherbet is bad. It's just not my flavor. So sometimes I'm somebody's lime sherbet. And now, after reading this book, I'm okay with that. This one changed every relationship I've ever had. And I'm not exaggerating. From coworkers to family to people in the grocery store to people at church. 5 Love Languages, Gary Chapman. Also, not a very thick book. I'm serious, you guys. I know he's done a lot of speaking things, so you could probably maybe even find a video or a podcast or something by him. But he said, if you're trying to communicate to someone, you have to speak their language. So if you're German and I'm French, I can't speak French to you because you're never going to be able to understand. I need to learn your language or you need to learn mine. He said when it comes to love, there are 5 love languages. Touch, that's me. I'm always patting or hugging or, I was at a funeral the other day and a friend was talking and I patted her on the knee. She moved away a little bit, so I thought that's not her love language. It was mine. So see, I've learned to speak her language. There is words. People who just thrive when you say, oh my gosh, you did a good job. And you can just see them come alive. Some people get awkward and it's like, yeah, whatever. That's not their love language. So time, words, gifts. Gifts are obvious. I've never been a gifts person, but I have been more lately because my touch has not been able to be used because darn it, COVID really messed with us touch people. So I found myself being more thoughtful in gift giving, and it's funny because you can tell whose language that is by when they receive it. They just go mushy. If I've sent them a card or bought them a cookie and took it to them at work, they're gifts people. Time, that goes without saying. My daughter is time. She doesn't need to talk. We don't need to be doing any activities. We just need to be in the room together. She's a high time person. And then my husband's deeds of service. He's told me before, I've never found you more attractive than when I walk in and you're standing at the stove cooking dinner. Now, if you're a feminist, that could be offensive. But for me, who is trying to let him feel loved and him to reciprocate, I had to speak his language. So, trust me, I make sure I'm always cooking dinner when he comes up the steps at night because for him, you can just see the little hearts popping over his head. It's like, She loves me because she's doing things for me. If I fold his t-shirts and put them away, he gets verklempt. It's like, I'm so loved. For me, I don't care. You can throw my t-shirts on the back of the couch. Whatevs. But if he doesn't come by and squeeze my shoulder when he walks by or tousle my hair, some kind of touch, I start to shrivel up like an orchid. Yeah, not a good orchid, a bad kind. 5 love languages, guaranteed to change your relationships. Seriously. I now, everywhere I go, I'm thinking, I can read somebody's You can learn to read them really quickly. This book gives you all the details. And you can go to a grocery store and you can see somebody having a bad day. You talk to them for 2 minutes. You know what their love language is. You speak it. You can change their day. This book, all the way back to middle school. As a 15-year-old girl who's coming of age, whose emotions are starting to awaken, and she runs, coincidentally, on the bookmobile to a poetic book by Rod McEwen. It changes her life. Now, this has a library sticker on it, which to me only adds to the precious nostalgia of the thing. I ordered it off of Amazon. I did not steal it. Cross my heart. But this one's my favorite. I have several of his in there. I've since ordered. This one has come to me in silence. Okay, Rod McEwen, incredible poet. His are dark and mysterious and just, as a teenage girl, you're just thinking, yes, that is how my heart feels too. He made me feel all of my feels. He introduced me to womanhood. That sounds creepy and not what I mean. And no, I mean the emotions of a woman. Oh, that's good. That's real good, actually. Rod McEwen, yes. He introduced, I just had that revelation. Did you see the light bulb go on? Yeah. So he walked me into those no more childlike emotions, but those of a woman. It was exciting. I read all of his books. I started becoming a poet myself. I wrote poems for all of my friends, and you could tell they were like, whatever, all right, you're deep, we get it. And then it led me to, well, if he can evoke feelings like that, that's what I want to do. So I became a writer. Yes, it's true. Now, this was my first book. Don't get too excited, there's a story. Sylvia, Please Don't Be Dead, by none other than moi. Yes, this was my first book. Look, that's even my picture if you don't believe me. It's true. That my book was never published properly, so she's not on the market, so don't go looking for it. I will be reintroducing it probably next year, so hang on. But in the meantime, I write children's books. That's another story for another day. But here's what's funny. Hold on, let me show you something. So, as my first book, I totally wanted to write acknowledgments because, I'd waited a long time to get this thing. So, here we are in the acknowledgments. I would like to thank Rod McEwen, who showed me when I read his poetry in 8th grade that words can create such incredible feelings. I knew I too needed to become a writer so I could motivate people to feel beautiful things. He inspired me so much. I became a writer. Really weird sidebar. Get my first book published, get a copy, find out his address, write a big email to his company or whatever. And I said, look, I just wrote a book. He's in the acknowledgments. I would love for him to see what he has inspired. They send me a note back. He died the day it was published. I know, that took a really dark turn. You didn't see that happening, did you? So yeah, Rod never got to see what he inspired, but I know deep down he knew. He knew. All right, this book, A Year by the Sea. Her name is Joan Anderson. Okay, a few years ago, remember, well, maybe not. When I was talking about this, a few years ago when I was going through these struggles of what is happening, I called a friend of mine she's my mentor, she's my everything. And I'm like, Glenda, what do I need to do with my life? And she said, stop everything you're doing. Get a glass of tea or lemonade. Put your feet up on your porch. Enjoy God's nature and read this book. Okay. I'll do whatever she said, even though I had absolutely no hope that that was what I needed because my situation was too dire. I was wrong. She was right. Oh my gosh, this book, this lady, it's a true story. She had raised her kids. She was the, book fair mom, the PTA mom, the I decorate for every holiday mom. And her kids grew up and moved out, and her husband goes, great, we're going to sell everything. I'm taking a new job and we're moving away. And she goes, wait a minute. Why am I supposed to just give up everything? And he goes, well, that's the deal. And she goes, then I'm leaving. Now, I'm not encouraging. I was not leaving my husband. I feel like I need to say that. My struggles were with other people. But anyway, it's all about relationship. There we go. That would have been clear. So she takes off to their beach house. I didn't have a beach house, so I went to my basement. And what she did was she just found ways to find herself. What makes me tick? Who am I deep in my soul? Now that my family dynamic has changed, it hit me right smack in the middle of the forehead. My friend was right. She had read it not long before. But this Joan, she writes it in such a poetic way. It is so beautifully written. You would turn a page and you would read it and you could just feel yourself. It was like sitting by the sea and you could feel the spray of the ocean waves just hitting you and refreshing you. I'm a Midwest girl. We have lakes and ponds. I don't know. I'm just assuming. I've seen it on TV, but that's what it felt like. Okay, this book taught me to gently find myself when the 3 of 10 didn't like me, and how it's okay to define yourself. And it went along with what my husband told me at the time. What do you do for you, and what do you do for others? Now that the others aren't there, what do you want to do for you? That's basically this book. I love this book so much. I read it in the summer, my hardest summer ever, and I loved it so much. I read it every summer. I do. I don't typically reread a book. Well, maybe Rod McEwen and mine, of course, because I had to edit the darn thing. But no, I read this every summer because it is such a feel-good book. Now, I must clarify, she has went on to write others. I've read them, didn't like them as well. This one, though, it's beautiful. It is just beautiful. Okay, lastly, simple, the Bible. Seriously. In 1981, when I said, I need to do something with my life more than just what I'm doing, I was handed one of these and told, live this way and you can't go wrong. People say, have you ever had therapy? And I say, and I've said this before, yeah, every day of my life since 1981. Every single day of my life, I go to the guidebook and say, okay, how am I supposed to be living this life? It's taught me how to be loving. It's taught me how to have peace. It's taught me how to have faith. It's taught me to overcome. It's taught me how to have good relationships. It's taught me what is my purpose. One book? Are you kidding me? So yeah, when I'm sitting here talking about books that changed my life, there's not enough books in the world to change you like this one. And so if anybody is having any kind of struggle, I say, get one of these, do what it tells you to do. You can't go wrong. Seriously, start in the New Testament though. The Old Testament's kind of confusing. But anyway, it has totally changed my life. I shouldn't be the person I am today. That's not what my destiny was set out to be. But once I started reading this and I made my faith in this and the God of this, no joke, my life completely turned around and God put me on such a good path. So that's what I've got. These are the books that have changed my life. I have other books that have entertained me. I have books that, they're books of knowledge. Books are good. I love books. I really do. That legitimately wasn't a dramatic statement. That legitimately was from my heart. Okay. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope something came out of it good that you can use. And I hope your life gets changed like mine. Unless your life is perfect, and then please contact me because I really could use some help. Still trying to learn. Ain't read it all. Well, I've read it all, but I haven't applied it all. Okay, I'm going to get about my day. And, I knew there was something else I wanted to tell you. It just hit me. I'm going to do a question and answer video. Does that sound interesting? So, if you would like to, down below, or find me on social media and message me, whatever. What questions do you want to know? I'm going to put this out on other social media too, and I'm going to do a question and answer thing. Could be interesting. I don't know. I don't promise to answer some because no, I'm not going to tell you my weight. Nobody needs to know that. But I'm going to do a question and answer thing. So put some questions down below. Also, please subscribe and share this with your friends if you go, oh my gosh, she likes books like you do. I want to find other book people. All right. Love you guys. Stay nice and cool out there. And don't be tempted by a drive-up free ice cream truck out front. No, it's not good. Not good. Talk to you soon.